Give me 1 second. I'll be there in a moment. What's up, everybody? This is David Flores, the Bike Life Surfer from the 5280 with my co-host, the Emperor of Bike Life, DJ Seldom Seen. Tonight, we're going live from E-Force Bikes in Denver, Colorado, with our special guest.
Da-da-da-da.
Good evening, guys. From Los Angeles is Art Ramirez, the Skrapfather.
Yes, sir, the one and only.
Art Ramirez, the Skrapfather. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great, doing great. Just after Christmas, and we're getting a few dry days, so I decided to start continue with a couple of builds and start a. I actually want to make a bike, the last bike of the year, before the year ends, and I might have another dry day tomorrow, so I might finish the bike tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Wow. Good stuff.
Yeah, it's I got fortunate, and somebody ordered it. But yeah, usually the way it works for most fabricators at this time of the year, most people don't uh stop ordering right around Thanksgiving, and it's a really dry spell for most fabricators as far as big orders are concerned. Most people have to focus on presents and the holidays and traveling expenses, stuff like that. So sales, you notice nothing as far as orders until after New Year's Day, and by then most people are spending their income tax returns.
All right.
Oh hell, they're spending it before they get it. And normally, what happens to most fabricators right after New Year's is we get flooded with orders because of OBC.
All right. All right.
So you have a spurt for OBC, and then after OBC, you have the summer request for bikes, right up until almost Thanksgiving, and that's when most rides stop happening, and most of the East Coast is snowed in.
Right. Yeah.
Most of,
Yeah.
most of my riders are from the East Coast or out of California,
Right.
Texas, Arizona, Oregon, but it, it, most of them are snowed in, and they have anywhere from 3 to 4 months of being cooped up,
Mm.
uh, thinking about riding their bike. And by the time 2 months have passed, they're still cooped up. Now they're thinking about next year, and now this year's bike is an old bike, so they start planning a new. They
Right.
start planning a new bike. You can't show up to OBC wearing last year's dress, man. Are you nuts?
that
No.
that's what I always say. I always pop up with something new when I come. So yeah.
I always say this one's gonna be my bike. This is the one I'm gonna ride, and I get to ride it once over there. And by the time next year starts coming around, you start thinking, well, I haven't built a bike in a while. And you make another.
So
And
like how so what is your cutoff as far as taking orders from making a bike? Let's say I want something for OBC. Would you be able to accommodate me before OBC?
all the way up to the last week, I
Okay.
have made bikes. Uh, People have called on the last week. I don't have a bike, and we throw it in there.
Okay.
Oh, sometimes several years, sometimes several years 2 to 3 days before OBC, I start working and I don't stop working until I get on the vehicle to leave to OBC. One time I did like 54 hours without sleep. Another time I did like 60. I posted it too. Uh, 64 hours without sleep. I'm still building the bike, and who was it that came down? Jaime from San Jose. He does the what do they call it? Bike party up there.
Oh
He
yeah,
came
San
down.
Jose Bike Party. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he came down, and he and I were going to go to OBC. Well, he showed up at around 4 a.m. and I'm still building a bike. Around 6, I finished the last bike, loaded. Um, and I closed my eyes and I got to, I opened them and I was at OBC already. Yes, if you want to order a bike on the last week, yeah, you can order one, but everything's got to be uh,
Kind of
uh,
intact for the way
uh,
all the
no,
everything's
no, money's no object. If you want it in a week and the whole build and everything, it can and will be done.
Ooh, I like that
Uh,
kind of talk.
oh.
well, see, that's how it is with Burning Man bikes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
When uh, some of these burners are very affluent. The type that don't work for money, money works for them.
Right.
Um, they know how to accomplish things. And my very first customer, oh, was that type. He called me 8 months before this event. I didn't know about Burning Man. He called me 8 months before that, and he says, "I need 6 bikes." And then he doesn't call me again until 10 days before Burning Man. And he says, "Are the bikes ready?" Uh, I didn't have anything ready. And not only that, they weren't electric, they had to be converted. And he says, "Well, I need 6 bikes in 10 days. Can you do it?" I says, "Well, yes, I can, but everything has to be brought to me." Um, and he says, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." That's when I found out the power of power. Uh, I needed it there the next day. He had everything there the next day, everything on the list: motors, batteries, parts. He had these pretty little secretaries all day long coming in their car just dropping items off.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, that's intense.
Yeah, but see, his customers were super affluent. You have
Hmm.
rich and then you have wealthy. There's a difference between them two. One of them signs the check of the other. Um,
Right.
and and these bikes were meant for them. He is their fixer. He's involved. They're all well, he's involved in the entertainment industry. Anyway, if you want a bike in 5 days, it can't be done. The
Okay.
JP and I made a bike in one day, but we were having fun.
Right.
Uh, it's different. It's different. The every build is different.
Yeah.
Has its own character, its own way of being made. Depending
Question:
on
Whose
yeah.
bike? Whose bike was this? Can you see that?
Go up a little
Pick it up
bit.
a bit more.
Up.
Right there. Stop. Stop. Stop.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's my Terminator bike. So a burner 2 years ago called me. He caught me at the right time, right before OBC, like a month and a half before OBC.
Hmm.
When you need to catch me in that mood, I need a new dress. Uh, this, bur- this burner calls me and he sends me 2 pictures. Can you make me a mix of your 2 bikes, this one and that one? It was my Skeletron and a bike with six tailpipes. Anyway, I made that bike in a week. and I
Really?
sent him the picture, and he liked it. But I liked that bike so much that I wanted one of my own. But his bike was 6 inches off the ground, which is what you want in the desert.
Hmm.
But my bike is a stretch cruiser. So the one in that picture is actually my bike. I
Okay.
made that 2 years ago, and last year we sold to Millie from Detroit
Yeah.
Cruisers,
Hmm.
and just powder coated purple with sparkle on
Right.
it, with
So you
five
did
inch
the
wheels.
painting too?
No, I had it powder coated.
Okay.
Back in the day, it was all about making the bike and getting it painted
Right.
because there was no such thing as powder coats. No such thing. Then powder coats started to come out, they weren't all that good, but they were a less expensive alternative to getting it painted because getting it painted, regardless, show quality or just painted, was never cheap. For a bike, they had to do all the filling, all that work. But powder coating changed the game. And I remember talking to the painters back then because back then painting was a profession and there was a whole bunch of writers that were painters. Nowadays, there's almost none of them left. There's okay, the ones that are left are the ones doing the show bikes,
Yeah.
the extreme show bikes.
Right.
Those are the few painters that are left, where there used to be a whole field of them. Now there's maybe five guys who are painters and writers,
Hmm.
not painters who paint for writers. I'm
Right.
talking writers who were painters, just like writers who are fabricators. It was their particular corner. The thing is, everybody kind of started shifting to powder coating got better and better. I had a I had a bike powder coated. They requested it chrome. I had no idea they had chrome powder coat. When I picked it up and I built it. It looked too good to be true. How can you do this? Powder coating is chrome. I mean, chrome.
Right.
When I got back from Burning Man, we I found out that it was too good to be true. It wasn't UV resistant, but they're working on that problem. Uh, that was years ago. Now they have better coats. The hologramic uh, sparkle looks like a painter did it.
Right.
Back
Right.
back in the day, a painter, all he would talk about is how much flake you want on it,
Right.
and that's where
Exactly.
your expense came from, the
Yeah.
flake. And now I can go into a powder coat or this badass coat with all the sparkle that I want, and it will cost. Well, I don't even know what a painter charges now, but it will cost less than what they were charging 10, 15 years ago,
Hmm. Right.
which was 500, $600 was a good amount for a starting paint job back then.
Right.
Nowadays,
Yeah.
I think they go like for 2,000 starting.
Yeah. Yeah. That
That's
that
good.
bike was definitely. I remember when you rode up because you rode up right by me. I'm sitting there watching all the other bikes because we were unloading at that point, and
Okay.
I was like, man, I looked at it and we just smiled at each other. I was like, man, that's a badass bike. That bike was definitely it was I didn't know whose it was or who, if you brought it for somebody or something like that, but it was definitely amazing. That was
Uh,
one of the
That's made
originals.
with that's made about with about 600 pieces that were individually welded to create the entire frame. So
Wow.
What do you
yeah,
prefer?
it's
Art, if you had your choice, what would you have? Traditional paint or the powder coating?
I've never chromed a bike,
Ooh.
and you asked me what I prefer,
Yeah. What would you prefer?
and it wasn't those two. What I prefer. I want a thermically oxidized bike.
Oh wow.
Okay, you know what oxidation is, right? Rust.
Right.
It's a form. It's a form of protection that the metal uses to protect itself by sacrificing some of itself to protect itself. The top layer of molecules. Okay, it sacrifices the steel to the moisture, and it oxidizes, and it protects the underlying metal from further corrosion, or slows it until it has to sacrifice more and more. Well, that's normal environmental oxidation. Thermal oxidation is you have an oven and you sink your frame, and you lay your frame in there and you set it to a certain temperature for a certain amount of time. Then you open it after that amount of time and you look at it. It is no longer going to be the shiny metal that you had when you put it in there. Oh, that's mom in the back.
Hey, moms.
Um, and so what's going to happen is your metal's going to get dark. You're going to open it and you're going to see that it's darker,
Mm-hmm.
starting to go blue. And you close the door and you give it some more time. Then you open it again. You're going to see that it's instead of blue now, it's going to turn black. This shiny, glossy black. That is thermal oxidation. Uh, an example: the Knights of Shining Armor. Picture that in your mind. King Arthur in his shining suit of armor. That was for his wedding. What he went to battle with was all black. The same type of suit of armor, the very same steel, but one of them had been cooked until it got black. The heat turned it black.
Mm-hmm.
It's called thermal oxidation. What happens is it's the layer that got oxidized by the heat, and it works better than rust,
Right.
but it's not permanent. You have to stay on top of it. Anyway, you asked me what I prefer. I want to do that. It's a different way of getting what you want. The glossy black, but a different. It's a more metallic.
Okay.
That's what I want.
So
I
it
prefer.
has to go through that process to get to what you want. It's not
Yes,
like
black.
okay.
Or I could choose to for it to be sky blue if I want. It
Mm.
depends what temperature and how long you cook it.
Hey, uh, Art, I have a live question here from the owner of the bicycle shop, DJ, Eric, as you've met before. He wants to
All
ask Art
right.
a question.
Hey,
Go ahead.
Eric.
Hey, yeah, good to see you again. All right, but yeah, is that only for aluminum frames or steel frames or
No, that's for steel frame.
steel frames only?
I do not know what it'll do to aluminum. I
Okay,
know aluminum also oxidizes.
yeah,
It turns white.
and
When
then
you look at the bleachers when you look at old bleachers at the park,
Mhm.
they're aluminum. They look white, right?
Mm-hmm.
The day they put them in, they look as shiny as the inside of a Coke can.
yeah,
That's unoxidized aluminum. All metals oxidize except gold. I
okay.
don't know about the heavier ones than that, but all base metals pretty much oxidize.
So then, if you have a thermal oxidized steel frame, if you have a thermal oxidized steel frame, then do you need a protective clear coat then over that?
You see, I was thinking of that. I still have to YouTube that particular part. I believe they put some type of vegetable oil coating on it to further stave off natural oxidation and also give it that even higher gloss.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Art. I'm listening in the background, but I had to dive deep on the technical on that. Thanks, man.
Oh yeah, everybody here in Denver, Colorado, if you have a chance, the top e-bike store in Denver, Colorado is E-Bike USA. You can reach out to my good friend Eric Guterman, and he will get you on the road on two wheels.
And actually, it's E-Force electric bikes.
What did I say?
All right. So take us to the beginning.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I said, hold on, guys, time out. Sorry, I said the wrong store.
No, they're great too. They're good buddies.
They're good friends of ours. I said his competitor.
Oh,
We are at E-Force Bikes. We are at
bloopers.
E-Force Bikes.
Boom, boom, boom,
No,
boom.
it's embarrassing. He gets to do the whole spiel. Where are we at again?
But let me just say this: we're like the specialists of the conversions. If you have a electric bike or a regular bike you wanted to convert to electric, we can help you. Other bike shops can't here in Denver. So maybe we're second best e-bike store in Denver,
No.
but we're first best. So if you got a special bike, I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to convert a bike if you just like a cheap e-bike. But if you got a special bike that you really love to convert it, yeah, that's the way to go. So anyway, we'll help you with that.
At
Thanks, guys.
E-Force Bikes,
Yeah.
at E-Force Bikes at 3871 Tennyson Street, Denver, Colorado. My God, that was embarrassing. Go ahead, DJ, take it away again. Sorry about that.
Well, I had to give you the Price is Right horn.
Oh, you did not. Is it working?
Yeah. You didn't hear it, but
Oh, he got me with
but no,
What up?
Art, so
What up?
go ahead. So take us to the beginning with you and bike life in general. Like how did it all start for you? Was you a kid that always loved to ride bikes? Where was your beginning with this bike stuff?
The projects in East LA, the Ramona Gardens projects. That's where I lived in the late 70s, 70, 78.
It's the City of Angels,
Well,
baby. City of
so
Angels.
so I lived in the projects, but over in West LA, with my uncle Tony, who was who did body work and car work and mechanic work at his place on the side. Well, when he was doing body work, he would ask me to help him on the weekends because my hands were small enough to hold the anvil inside the doors as he was banging outside, straightening out dents and stuff. Then I would see him work with the bondo and filling in and shaping. Well, what back to the project? One day, see, back then the lowrider scene uh, uh, was big. That's when you had the Boulevard Nights cruising and stuff like that. Well, the lowrider guys were having car shows at parks and stuff, and all their kids were running back and forth in between the cars, and they didn't want that. They didn't want the kids, their own kids, messing up the cars. So to keep the kids entertained, they started fixing up their kids' bikes, making them fancy. The birth of the lowrider bike. Well, one day, some of these kids came to me in the projects. I was 11, and they say, "Hey, Art, we heard you do body work." So yeah, I work with my uncle. We do body work. Hey, and they showed me this tiny little twin frame, and they wanted to cover the gas tank area. So can you cover that? Can you make a gas tank? I said, sure. So I got a shitload of my uncle's bondo and a shitload of the activator stuff, and I started mixing it and I started packing it with my hands, filling it in. That little frame had to have like 40 pounds of bondo, I swear. But with my hands, I shaped it, and then with mom's cheese grater, I gave it a really rough sanding, and we all thought it was great. That was the very first bike I ever worked on for somebody else. Then after that, they asked for little side skirts, and I had no tools. We're in the projects. Um, I had this pliers that I used to cut some. Well, first of all, I cut an oil can in half. I sprayed it out so I can get the sheet metal out of that, so I can make these little half skirts. Oh, and then I punch a whole bunch of little holes and use enough Bondo to hold that together. The I did it the best way I thought I could. It should.
Right.
I was uh, that was how I began with bikes. Right after that, my uncle fixed also this the semi trailer boxes, the semi trailers, the rigs.
Mm.
They all use these reflectors in the back, right? Some of them have like this beautiful, like dozens of reflectors. They're on this
Right.
plastic clips. Well, my uncle had bins of those reflectors in the garage, and I got a whole bunch of them, and I got all the white ones, big old side panels, and I mounted them on the front forks. Then I made big panels with the red reflectors and put them in the back. And I must say, to me, it was badass. I was building, it, doing stuff to the bike. Then after that, I got to into lighting it up. The About the little dynamos, remember the little friction dynamos that
Yeah.
went
Yeah.
underneath the wheel? That's when I found out about loads. I didn't know. See, I bought one at Zodi's. That was a department store that's, defunct now. Anyway, I bought one and it lit up my little front light. Then I started thinking, well, I want more than one light. I want like five or six. But then I'm gonna need more of the dynamos. So I got more dynamos. And I managed to mount them to the front forks and also to the rear. And that's when I found out uh, that, well, that there's a learning curve. You have to pedal a bike with five dynamos uh, causing drag with those lights on. And I was a big kid. I was the chunky kid. It was a struggle to pedal it, and I managed to light it. And from there, I just stuck to buying accessories for it. I didn't touch another bike until 2005. Um, I stopped messing around with bikes when I was about 14. I discovered girls, and
Hmm.
well, girls took over, and yeah, and in 2005, the last girl said no, and that's when I came back to LA, and I needed something to do. And every day in the morning, I would see all these guys on their way to work with their little BMX bikes and their little baseball cap, pedaling their down the sidewalk on their way to work every day. And I knew that I was gonna have to start looking for a job, but I didn't want to go in a little BMX with my little baseball cap and join. Well, I I wanted to make my own bike.
Right.
That's when I made Skeletron. It's the bike with all the skulls. The first one had 135 gears. It's and that's the bike that most people know me on. That was on that one was also stolen. It was stolen. It stayed stolen for 8 years, and it was found by somebody in the bike life.
No way.
Wow.
Yes, it was found by somebody in the bike life. The guy who had bought it didn't know it had been stolen. He never got to use it because he bought it because it was pretty, but he couldn't ride it because it was too big for him. So he kept it in the garage for 5 years. And when his wife told him to sell it, he posted it online, and someone saw it. Someone in the bike life. When that bike was stolen, no one knew me in the bike life. But when by the time they posted it, they knew that bike. And and Bike Life got on the guy on Facebook. The guy sent me a message. Hey, everybody thinks I stole your bike. I says, no, I knew he hadn't stolen it. So I told him if he brought me my bike back, I would make him a bike that he would like. I made him a bike with all the skulls that he liked, just like my bike, but his size.
Okay.
So he brought it over, and I gave him that bike. And
Nice.
2 years later, somebody in Vegas sent me a picture. Hey, Art, did you make this bike? And I said, yes, I made that bike. That bike was stolen at Burning Man 6 years ago.
Oh,
And that guy in Vegas told me, well, I bought the bike. So I posted it on Facebook. Hey, this bike was stolen at Burning Man 6 years ago, and Paul Williams just bought it. Well, lo and behold, the owner of the bike, one of my burners, saw my post. He says, I want my bike back. So I had to call my Vegas friend who bought the stolen bike and tell him I have to return that bike. But I'll give you a stolen bike for a stolen bike. My bike, my first bike, Skeletron, had been stolen, had been returned to me. But by then I made three of them. The one that got stolen uh, was number one. Number two was ordered from me. And then number one was stolen. And that's when I made number three. So I had two of my bikes. And I decided to give Paul, since he wanted one of my bikes, I gave him my very first bike. And he gave me the stolen bike that he had bought. And I gave that to my burner. Everybody turned out happy because my burner ended up totally upgrading his bike. It had been trashed when it was stolen. So, and Paul Williams was very happy with my bike. He
Oh,
fixed it
wow.
all up. He rode it around in Vegas for a while.
nice.
But
I
then,
have we have a chat room, and Justin Kim from Northern California says Art
hey,
City Hall.
Justin,
He says, "Hey, Justin." He says, "Hello." He says he has a question for you. He wants to know. Okay, he goes. He wants to know what your favorite things about the current custom bike scene are, and what's one of the things he'd like to see us all change.
what I like about the current bike scene,
The current custom bike scene.
it's exactly what it should be because I know what it was, where it started, its process, where it's at now. I would leave it as it is. It's a naturally evolving thing. We have something called extreme customs now. Hell, back in the day, custom was the the peak. Well, you get this many guys this much into this for so long, they're all going to get up to a certain level, and then it's going to become even more difficult to differentiate, bleh, uh, which is what we like to do, show that we're different. It's a lot harder. So a new genre was born to take it up to where custom cannot, to where it's a new genre. It is an extreme custom, and that's for that few select that few select weren't always that to begin with. They started at the beginning, just like everybody else. What is my favorite thing is that we are evolving. Uh, there's in a day that I fabricating a bike that I don't learn something from it myself. It's it will show in the bike life itself. Just look at the evolution of that. Our headlights used to be back, well, a headlight was either just a decoration or you carry around a 12-volt battery, a
Right.
heavy one. Now, it comes with this little USB thing, and you can do a Bluetooth thing to it. I think that's what you call it. You control
Yep.
it. Yeah, everything's evolving. What would I change about it? I never thought about it. Uh, we have nothing that's broken enough to fix. One person's way of doing something uh, is someone else's new experience.
Right.
Not necessarily something to oppose. Hey, we'll try it. Uh, no, I wouldn't change it. I see nothing to change. I see so many more things to try.
Mm.
That would be change.
Right.
That'd be something new. New ride.
Right. Are
You
you
know, we
are you evolving with it? Where do you prefer to be at with it, or you just adapt to what's going on? Like, you know, like you said with the from, because I remember the big 9-volt battery. It looked like a big square, had the little wire on the top, that type of battery that you use. But in your preference of building and putting something together, are you okay with the change of everything, or there are some things you still need to catch up with yourself?
I I focused on the metalwork.
Mhm.
Um, there's something I have a project in mind. Actually, it's just an extension of an older project. Working with square tube on edge is called diamond tubing.
Mhm.
All right, so most of us roll diamond tubing because there are no benders for diamond tubing. And so somebody asked me one day, hey, how can we bend this? He wanted to make a particular connection,
Mhm.
and this is a bend, okay? This is a roll. This is
Okay.
what you see on most diamond tube bikes. It's a long, long curve, and then an attempt to make a sharp turn with it, usually done by making a diagonal cut, and then you get this with
Okay.
diamond tubing, okay? I wanted that with diamond tubing. And so I called the company that makes these dies for these benders. I have one of these benders. There are many benders. They all do the same thing. They use a die just like that, and then start doing this. Usually meant for round tubing or square tubing, not square tubing on edge diamond. Okay. And I called this company. How come do you make this die for diamond tubing? He says, no, we don't make those. One of the reasons they don't make this is because, like all companies, they work under the supply and demand thing. If they see a demand, they will create a supply. Have you ever seen a chair made out of diamond tubing? A table, a fence, anything, not a bike made out of diamond tubing. No, they've never seen the need to make a die to bend diamond tubing. So I decided to have my own die made. I made three attempts. I went to a machinist and I told him I wanted to make me a die that looks like this, but meant for diamond tubing. The first attempt was didn't even make it back to my place because the when you want to do something and you usually find out obstacles that you couldn't see inside your imagination. You so the second attempt worked, but it still needed a bigger size, a little bit more. So I had him try again. It cost me $2,500 to make this die, and I can bend diamond tubing into a perfect U of 180 degrees with a 5-inch inside diameter, 1 inch square. I've had that for about 3 or 4 years now. I've been able to further my experience with metal.
Okay.
Now I want to go 1 1/4 inch. I want to make a bigger die, uh, and be able to bend 1 1/4 inch diamond tubing with it, and that will open a lot of doors when it comes to making frames. It lets you express yourself in sometimes in the same way that you do with round tubing, but diamond tubing does something to a bike. See, you can have the two same, for instance, the JP Bombita, the Bombita, made out of round tubing, looks totally different than the very same Bombita size and model made out of diamond tubing. One gives you a classic look, the other one gives you a sporty look. That's what diamond tubing uh, does. It gives you a different look, sometimes even with the same model. And being able to bend uh, 1 1/4 inch, it hasn't been done. It can be done because it was done with 1 inch. To what extent? I'm going to find out. I want a 7 inch inside diameter, 1 1/4 bent like this, with a 7 inch inside diameter. That is enough to put a wide hub wheel in there. So I can make the entire arch for a fork or dropouts and chainstay for the rear end for a bike in one single piece.
Hmm.
Uh, that has it hasn't been done. I thought I was the first one to do 1 inch, but I knew I wasn't the first one to do diamond tubing bending. There are one or two guys in Europe who are doing it, but they're doing it with 3/4 inch and they're using a different bending method. But I thought that I was the first one with doing 1 inch.
Right.
But then John Brain sent me a picture of a gentleman. May he rest in peace. His last name is Chapman, I think. Um, he did bike shows. He was a fabricator up in Canada. One of those bikes on the picture that John Brain sent me has a unique bend on it, and I zoomed it up, and that was a bent diamond tubing 1 inch in the year 2009. He died shortly thereafter, a welding accident. He was electrocuted.
Ooh.
So I know that I wasn't the first, and I know the guys in Europe weren't the first. He may have been the first, but I know no one's done 1 1/4 yet. And I want to see if it's possible. But attempting so is going to cost about $2,000. It's a very expensive die.
Mm.
Mhm.
Expensive
Yeah,
habit.
they make.
I said, yeah, it's an expensive habit, like all bicycles are. But you know what? Who wants to ask you some questions but says she can't? You got Sherry Herrera here in our chat
Oh,
room saying, I can't ask him too many questions because I ask him too many questions all the time when I have shop time with him. So I guess she hangs out with you a lot. But there is a question for you. You know, Flash from Detroit, Michigan, from HSR, the Hotspot Roller.
yes,
He wants to.
yes.
He has a question for you. Flash's question was, what was your first thought when you heard "Life Behind Bars"?
Very appropriate. It's badass. You're talking about the song,
Right.
Yeah.
the rap. Yes. So we should have this. We it uh representation. Uh, everybody has a song or jingle, bike life jingle. The it's it part of us evolving. We it was time for it to happen. Not only that, put that on blast on the ride.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. I love
Yeah.
hearing some Flash on there. You know, JP chimed in about this question too. JP's response to it was, "Life behind bars. We are all bangers, and we will remain a staple in the bike scene." That's a great way to answer that, JP. That's a good response. So, who out of all the fabricators out there, do you have a favorite fabricator that you like their style of work? Anybody on the list that you've been watching builds? Your colleagues?
You know, after a while, you learn to see the fingerprint of a fellow fabricator when you're looking at a bike at a ride or at a show. And you're looking at a bike, and I still do, but sometimes I don't even have to ask, who made that bike? Because I know that might be a King Zebra frame. HBZ spot. Uh, it might be a flying machine frame. Might be a peak frame. You you learn to see the signatures. What is my favorite one? There is not a favorite one. There is the fingerprint that I look for. When you can just look at a bike, even if it's not something that they normally do, but you know that they are the ones who make that. That's what my favorite thing to see at a bike show. A bike that the instant I glance at it, I know who I'm looking at. That is what to expect when when I get closer.
Mm.
The I I like Adam Zanowick's approach to making a bike. So on a different plane. His bikes don't sell uh, at the bike dealer. His bikes sell at galleries. His bike shows are at galleries.
Right.
His his bikes are actual representations of a word, phrase, work of art, art on
Yeah.
wheels. The all of the samples I have seen uh, of his bike the last 5 years. Each one is just like completely out of the box. He's got that spaghetti bike, the dragon bike, the that wave thing. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, now now the Mario one was still out of the box. Um, and it's cool, and it should be in the gallery. And it's got his own little, but no, uh, I think he really hit it out of the park with the wave.
Hmm.
The I think that's what they call it, the wave, that chrome thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he would be the one I most look forward to seeing what he's coming up with.
Okay.
If I were to say a favorite to look forward to, I look forward to seeing what he has come up with. He won't be coming this year to OBC, but that just means that they're working on the one that he will be bringing to OBC.
We'll be bringing him on the pod.
Right.
We'll be bringing him on the pod. He'll be coming on the podcast in 2026. We'll be having him come on here as well. So we're looking forward to
Oh,
that.
squeeze some info out of him.
Yeah, we definitely will. Oh, we have a couple of people on here talking. Justin Kim, he's coming with some questions for you tonight. Justin has a question for you. He wants to know who Art's Mount Rushmore of fabricators are.
Rushmore Fabricators. Wow. Robert's there. Robert Belea, HP Cruiser.
Well, okay.
That's I mean, it doesn't get crustier than that. um, I've been at this over 30 years now, and I was in diapers the first day he rolled a bike that he made. He's got like 12, 13 years on me. His dad was a welder. Been welding all his life. I've been welding since I was 18. Uh, uh,
You got Robert.
he would be the first head there.
Okay.
All right. As far as influencing, being an influence in this thing we do, and an inspiration would be John Brain.
Okay.
Uh, there's some older ones they've passed. What's his name? Jimmy Gristle. This is like 20 years ago.
You can still be on the
Okay.
Mount Rushmore 20 years ago. So yeah, let us know.
Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't have to be
The
does not have to be current.
oh,
It's who you think it is. Who you think is the Mount Rushmore of fabricators.
fabricators. You see that I'm part of. You could say both worlds.
Okay.
I'm a chopper. I made the jump to custom. Um, the thing is that there wouldn't be a single custom if it wasn't for a chopper. Uh, every single
Right.
chopper made one day wants to be like my bike, Skeletron, pure chopper. Oh, made out of chopped up parts, chopped up everything. Yeah, we got some great choppers today who do some custom. Spencer Levy, up in San Jose area.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, Adam Hooligan. Holy crap! May he rest in peace. From San Jose area also. From the Hooligans. Phenomenal bender, incredible bender.
Yeah, you going up north
A
with it.
wizard. Yeah, he's a wizard.
Yeah.
He passed away in 2019, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. The rest are still too active, too competitive, and hungry to have their head at Mount Rushmore.
Hmm.
Uh, okay. The, the that's if you're still hungry, you're not satisfied with yourself.
Right.
Um, yeah, and when when you reach the mountaintop, you're gonna find out one thing. Where else are you gonna go? You're there. Uh, hopefully, you're happy with your bike. The, the, most of the ones that most of the ones on Rushmore should be dead. Okay, uh, most of them should be or close to it.
And bicycles still keeping you guys young.
Yeah, because I still got one more to make. If they said you got 3 days to live, guess what? making making a few more.
Yeah, I might need one.
No,
But I might need one myself. So I'm trying to think of it now. You know, I know what I want, but we got to talk
two
about it.
wheeler, 2 wheeler, 3 wheeler,
Two, it's a two.
pedal electric, or
Pedal
all
electric,
electric.
pedal electric.
Pedal electric.
He
All
needs a
right,
thumb throttle too.
thumb throttle.
He got
How fast
jokes.
do you want? How fast do you want to go?
I wanted to go at least 30, 30, 35.
He trying to be like the bike life surfer, trying to go as fast as me. Can't go as fast as me.
All right. So since we're on public media, uh, we're gonna all agree that you said 20 miles an hour because
Yeah,
and your wattage is gonna be restricted to 750 watts.
exactly.
Okay, and but we can upgrade your throttle in private.
You're talking Eric's language over here. When he heard you talking that, he walked right back over here. Hey, I'll show you guys a custom that I have in the making right now. Check this out, Art. Do you see this bike right here?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
electric.
so it's a Trek Marlin, and I put a rear hub on it a couple years ago and did a custom paint job, and it served its purpose and everything right now. But a buddy of mine from Black Cat Customs has actually redesigned this bike, brought the bar up and everything like that. So I have a custom one of these coming here soon, which I'm going to completely rebuild a Trek Marlin. I'm going to put a mid drive Bafang on it, and Eric Guterman will be building this whole bike. So this will be his headache here soon too. But yeah, we're getting ready. This one's actually getting ready to get broken down to a frame, and it's going to be a piece of wall art. No more. It had its last bike ride tonight.
Oh,
So,
awesome. So, are all those parts gonna go on your new frame?
no, everything's going to be completely new. I'm just breaking this frame down, and it's going to go on the wall. There's two of these now, so I have two bikes. One was a Trek Dual Sport, and then I graduated to this, the Marlin, and put some BMX bars on it. I like that whole like Mountain X look on 29s. I get to sit high and everything like that too. That's my thing. I do like to roll. I like to roll slow, but I also like to have the option of having that giddy up and go on my bikes. They've been known to break the sound barrier since I am the surfer of bike life. So, but yeah, it's
I
fun.
I have I have murdered hundreds of those bikes.
Oh yeah,
That's how I
I'm
that's
not
how I
even trying to
started
put that
chopping.
out there.
That's how I started chopping. That's how I made my first choppers, my first uh big bikes. Everything was there was no I didn't have benders or anything like that. You just learn how to use what was already pre-bent in China. And you just cut it out of the frame and you use it to your own ends. You stretch them, make them longer. You make use of the little bends that you can't produce. So yes, every single one of my first bikes, the first, let's say 30 or 40, I made by killing those factory bikes.
Yeah, it's definitely a factory bike. It served its purpose, but it's time for me to get into something different now. But same look, but a custom build on one. So it's quite the build when it's done, but it's going to take at least over a year to do because I'm going to take my time with it. That's for sure. Like it's going to definitely be built correctly. So it's going to be a fun
That's
experience.
when I say when I don't have enough money, I always say I'm going to take my time.
Spot on, spot on. I'm gonna take my time on it. Someone said there's another question for you. It says watching Art judge bikes is different from than most. Can you ask what the key things he looks for that sets bikes above from others? To set bikes apart, I'm sorry.
I love judging bikes because the bike tells you who's there to win or not. The bikes tell you this. All you have to do is the last set of rules in Vegas was very very nice. Very it told you what to look for. And usually the one of the mechanical requirements, mechanical the assembly and drivetrain. It'll have something along those lines. And um, when I look at the same at all bikes. They all get the same amount of time, and they all get looked at in the same spots. The very last thing I do with a bike is, and that's the way at the end is to see which one's the prettiest. Because I'm a fabricator. I make bikes. Uh, a bike must be properly assembled. It must be properly aligned. And one of the things that people notice about me looking, what is he looking down there? I'm looking at the front part of the bottom bracket. We just did a ride. What you're going to see at that front part of the bottom bracket, little specks. Maybe went over some wet, throw a little bit, and then we're going to a bike show. I'm going to see on that particular spot who bothered to wipe their bike before they put it in the corral at a bike show. I'm also going to look at the alignment of the handlebars against the wheel. You must have a perfect T. When you're looking at over your handlebars down to the wheel, if you can even notice a difference, that's already 2 points deduction. If you think that it's off, if you see that it's off, that's 3 or 4. You need this. Every single if the wheels on the fork are a little bit off, if the wheels in the rear are a little, if the chain is not aligned, it's not pointing straight, you need this. Why? Because at the very end, you got 2 or 3 bikes. They're all super pretty. You can't judge pretty. You have to judge. You have to have something to say to to the riders who did not win. Hey, my bike is obviously more expensive and prettier than that one. How come that one won? Let me show you. See your handlebars and you see your wheel? Let's go look at his. Came down to one thing. If you wanted to know, it came down to this. Something on all something on those bikes is gonna tell me. There is no guessing. Not if you know what you're looking for. If it says paint, that's what you look for. Wheels, that's what you look for. There are some areas where I'm really good at, and some areas where uh, I have learned uh, throughout the years of looking at shows, seeing which bikes are getting what and winning what, and why. Right now, the hot thing is this carved chrome. Um, I had to look up that. I had to look that up. There's only 3 guys known in the bike world who do that. So before I actually, because I knew I was going to be the judge, I had to call them up because I knew I was going to be judging that particular category, and I knew nothing about it. So the when you do a bike show, it is a great responsibility. It is. I remember being a competitor. I remember working a bike all year. Not the money, but all the effort, all the dedication, the hopes of getting that piece of plastic, being recognized among your peers, and then to see that it wasn't going to be this time, it was maybe next time. And if you're happy with the winner, you feel justified. Well, it keeps you coming. They're not going to do that if they don't get a proper judging from me. Uh, every bike that I look at, I'm looking at one of my friend's bike, and he is hopeful that he'll win something. He put it in there, probably knowing he wasn't going to win, but you just never know because you won't win unless you put it in there. I know because it took me a while before I finally won. Man, I finally won something. Why? Because the other ones didn't show up. That's how you win. Not everybody's going to show up at the same place. When I when I judge a show, I am super strict with myself. So I have to be so I can be fair with everybody and give it the proper judging and the maximum of my experience. They'll get a show of me judging. I will get down there low to look at the bike, not just walk around it. It they deserve that. They to see you uh, judging, being a judge, not just someone carrying a piece of paper. It, that's pretty much uh, it keep, that also keeps me from competing. I haven't competed in almost 10 years now. I consider it a conflict of interest for myself to be a competitor. How am I going to show up with this year's badass bike? It's going to be badass. How am I going to show up with my badass bike at the corral? I'm walking up and I see two of my riders in there. My time is over. It's past. It is their time. Am I still competing? Yeah, my bikes are in there. It's not a consolation. That is something to be proud of.
Right.
The I I've been in the ring. Now I'm the guy outside with the towel. Uh, I there are some fabricators who have no problem uh, still competing, and well, I'll just leave it there. I personally feel that for me it's a conflict of interest because now to almost every show that I go to, I will see one of my riders there.
Right.
No, uh, I will step up if they want me to look at the bikes. And when I look at my bikes, they better be straight
Right.
because
Sherry
I made
Herrera's
them.
Sherry Herrera's wondering if she enters her bike, can you judge and will you let her win?
If her bike went there to win, yes.
No, she wants to know will you just let her win and can you be the judge? I don't know about that, Sherry. He's gotten kind of quiet.
Jerry trying to get a fight started.
And then there's somebody
I'm
else
trying
here,
to.
Mike Tuba.
I just asked myself, what would it take to make me do that? No. Uh, no. You build your bike. You got plenty of guidance. Not only that, you got top guidance. No, no,
There's people asking for
because
questions. That's hilarious. Mike, let me see here. If I'm saying your name wrong, Mike, I apologize. His name is Mike Tubaga. Baga. Art tried to get me for not having pedals on yet when I put it in the corral. He was looking out for me. I don't know if you remember that, but that's what somebody just said in the chat.
yes. Well, yeah, there was one show where but my own show that day there was a miscommunication. Something got lost in the communication between me and Tracer's owner Johnny Yang. We were doing the Tracer show. I was gonna be the judge. And we're gonna have lots and lots of trophies. Uh, he ordered so many trophies. Not only did he order a whole bunch of trophies, they all had the same thing. I think it was Best in Show or something like that. All of them had that. So that day, everybody got a trophy, including a bike without pedals. Why? Because it was put in the show. Oh, that's the only particular instance that has happened. But though, if your bike must be properly assembled, unless it's an e-scooter or something like that, no pedals,
Right.
which happens to be the next coming thing in the bike world. Are we don't even know what to call them. Bike scooters, stretch scooters. Uh, the thing is, see, it don't sound cool. The word scooter automatically it just pulls you back. Stretch electric, well, the word electric ain't that much cooler either. Uh, we don't know what to call it. JP and I are making one right now. That not only I got it's a new thing that people are starting to ask me about. That somebody from Detroit is asking me for this non-pedal stretch electric cruiser. Hey, stretch power cruisers. Let's see how's that. Uh, see, it's hard to come up with something cool, especially when you're forcing it. It's got to be natural.
Mm.
All right.
We have in Colorado, we have one gentleman that has some custom bikes. Have you ever met Colorado Craig at all?
We may have met.
I think he has
Name.
cycles. I was just curious. He's like the only one that has like the style of bikes that you make that from just a different builder. I was just wondering if you were familiar with him. He's the only one out here that pretty much rocks that way. He's got some really cool bikes. I was just wondering because I know you've been to OBC and he goes as well. So I think we only have 2 or 3 people with like that style of lowrider chopper bikes and stretch and all that stuff.
We may have met already. Man,
I'm
I
sure you
have a
meet a lot of
lousy
people.
memory, and unless they have the little Facebook sticker face on there,
Mm-hmm.
um, I would be able to recognize the 5,000 people on my Facebook.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it usually takes me a few times.
Okay. Here's a question for you from John Scudder, who also says that he is comes from the scrapyard as well with some of your bikes. He says, "What do you feel is the greatest bike you've ever built, and how does it make you feel when you see it?"
I wouldn't say greatest.
Yeah, because he haven't built it yet. It's coming. It's mine is
I
coming.
well, I would say the one who has done the most for me, uh, my bike skeleton. It's my car. It's I've had since 2005, 2006. It's not the greatest. It's just the one that most expresses me at my core. Uh, what I was when I didn't know anybody, or I didn't know there was a bike scene. I was a lone wolf for over 10 years, just me and my bike. One day I ran into the Real Riders Club in South Central, and at the Ciclovia, that's how I hooked up with bike lane. Greatest bike? I made a bike last year with six tailpipes. It's a Burning Man bike, Metallica. Uh, I would say that is my best bike. That has one fingerprint in it. Every fabricator is on a constant quest to make the perfect bike. What is the perfect bike? The most suspect bike that we, as simple fabricators, can accomplish. The the with all the mechanical requirements, the alignment and everything. The closest I have come to making uh, to date the most efficient bike is Metallica. I made that bike last year. It taught me a lot. I learned a lot from it. And on my other bikes since then, have those new adaptations in their fabrication. The, we we all start this making choppers, and we all make that classic. We're all after that classic position, the classic triangle shape. We don't know how to do it. We just do it the best way we can, and we find out, well, just because it's pointing that way doesn't mean that it has no meaning. How it points, the angles, and then how your wheel is on there. You learn all of that one bike at a time, because it looks great and everything, and it rolls. You got it to roll, and you're pedaling, but it's kind of wobbly. It's or stiff. It don't feel right, and little by little, to the tune of 20 years, you learn one. Oh, that makes a difference. This makes a difference. What do I mean? When you look at most stretch bikes today, the space between your front wheel, the edge of the front wheel, and they usually have the down tube to match the wheel, right? There's a little curvature. There's two curves: the curve of the wheel and the curve of the down tube. And some guys try to eliminate as much as possible the space between the wheel and the space between the down tube. I've seen some guys try to do it down to half an inch, which is impossible. You have to compensate a lot. The proper space in order for your bottom bracket supports and everything, for all the math to act, the proper space between your wheel and your down tube should be 4 inches. That'll also place your head tube at a certain height over your wheel, which only when you're making a Springer fork, all those things factor into a fabrication and the way it should be made. To date, the most perfect bike I've made was the one for last year. I don't know what the future bikes will be. It's hard to come out with that. It's extremely easy to come out with a badass bike. Extremely easy. But what's hard is to come out with a great bike, a great frame. Any frame is a badass frame, but not all frames are a great frame. There are certain frames that everybody recognizes. That's the definition of greatness. Um, so for me to say, well, that I will make my best bikes in the future, that gets harder and harder to do. To look forward to that than to look backwards. I've made some great bikes already. I will be grateful for any bike that comes in the future. But to be constantly looking for that brand to that, no, I I look forward to making a better bike. That's what I look forward to making a better bike. It could be the same bike I've made for the past 8 years now, the Bombita. I want to make a better one. How do you do? You apply what you learn each and every single time. The placement of the seat, the space from the seat to the wheel, from the seat to the head tube, all of that plays a factor. And once you get perfect that, then you can apply it to everyone's different sizes and still keep the frame looking the same for everybody, no matter what size they are. It there's a lot of little things that come to fabricating a bike. Not to mention, well, you don't need equipment to make a bike. Yeah. Well, you need a welder and a grinder, and progress as you go from there. Everybody's great quest is to be considered a fabricator nowadays. You need a what they call a jig, a bike jig. They're nice to have, I'm sure, uh, and and I'm sure they're nice to have. I've never had a jig. Uh, I've always not desired one because I've never thought of one. The way I make a bike has evolved to, uh, well, I, you don't need a jig to make a bike. All you need to do is start welding. Put two put two tires on the floor, spaced enough so it can fit in your truck. Don't do what I did the first time. You just throw a tire there and throw a tire over there, and then you make your bike. Well, Skeletron is 9.5 foot long. Uh, that creates difficulties. So when you make a bike, if you're just starting out and and you have nothing but your desire to make a bike, a grinder and a welder, a tape measure, get two tires, lay them on the ground where the outer edges measure 8 foot apart. That'll fit in your truck. Now all you got to do is put your bottom bracket 10 inches away from your front wheel at a 10-inch height from the ground. And then from there, measure 26 to 27 inches in the diagonal direction towards the seat that's going to be placed in the sweet spot in between the lower edge of your rear wheel and front of in between the frame and the wheel. In other words, at the sweet spot. There's a few key basic positions, measurements on a bike. And once you know that, you can make the entire any bike you want. All you got to do is fill in the dots. JP came up with a diagram for building a bike. It's a graph and it shows the key points, and then you just draw in the bike in between all the key points. Cut your metal. It's and you raise it little by little. Dude, all my first bikes were all made on the floor. The flattest part. Sometimes you had to improvise. I live across from my yard. It's a metro rail. Well, my horizontal edge, whenever I make a bike, is the railroad track across the street. And my vertical edge, for years, was the light pole that holds the power for the metro rail. That was my chair. And when I raised the frame, I would tie it up against the chair, line it up against that light pole. That's how I got my 90 degrees. My plumb. There you go, my plumb. The You improvise, you adapt and overcome. You use pieces of metal to raise up your bike up to a certain height, and you're holding one thing with one hand, and then with your other you're holding another, and with your third hand you're welding. And it's trial and error. If you don't do it right, cut it up and do it again.
I've heard you mention JP for a few times here and his custom bikes as well as you guys working together. When did Los Riders start for you? As you know, I'm a prospect nomad for them right now too. So when did you start? When did your roots start with the club?
So I've been making bikes here at this place since 2008, I think. And my first attempt at making production stretch bikes or customs, I made 6 bikes using my type of construction, the cellular construction, like that bridge. I, I made 6 of those bikes. I used to call them my nephews call them the Power Rangers because they were all spray painted black, but all their parts were one color. So I had the black and red with red tires, red chain, red everything, all red parts. Then I had the black and blue and the black and green, and those were my. I had 6 of those bikes. Well, I would park them in front of my place on the curb, and at that time JP was working. Well, every day he would take the metro, and it would pass in front of my house, and he would see these bikes parked outside. This was like 2013, 2014. One day he stopped and he came over to visit. We talked for a bit, and then he came again and he brought some kids over. They were club members. That's how I found out that he had this club meant for kids. And then I met them at a ciclovia. And right around that time, somebody mentioned OBC, this thing in Las Vegas, and they were saying you should go. So I got in contact with JP and asked him, "Are you guys going?" And he says, "Yes, we're going." He said, "Can I go with you?" He said, "Sure." That was 2015. After OBC later that year, I became an official member of the club. So that's when he was based out of Watts. They had a boneyard there. So the city gave them a container, and that's where they could keep the bikes and the tools. And I would go out there and give them instruction on how to top up bikes.
Thank you so much.
So and that's 10 years ago. And right off the bat, JP's a natural designer. It's he would hand me his sketches on paper at first. Wasn't anything fancy, and then I suggested that he use graph paper, and then to put dots to measure distance. Well, one day he handed me, like on many occasions, one of his drawings, and I liked that drawing so much that the next day I sent him a picture of the frame. That was the Bombita. That was 2018. He's 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 designed pretty much almost all the bikes that I've made since 2016. I make a few of my own bikes, uh, but no, the, the bikes that I make are not designed; they're creations. They just come out. They look badass, but I don't draw or yeah. Well, Skeletron and Cobra is another bike. Those I made blueprints, but I don't have the talent or the patience to do what he does. He's an actual designer. He'll crank those things two or three a day. He sees he sees he sees lines the way I see metal. I can communicate with metal. It tells me things. Does JP when Sherry's bike? She's listening. We're making Sherry's bike. Here I was, and I had this bent, and JP just reaches over, flips the piece. Holy shit! And it wasn't. It's not the first time he does that. He can see. He can see the bike. He can just see it. He just reached down, flipped that piece. Flipped it and turned it around, and it looked way better. And I was the one bending it. JP and I have made a lot of bikes. We can, I wouldn't be able to put a number on it. We've made a lot of bikes, not just a car. We've made dozens of choppers before. Almost every weekend he would show up with a, "Hey, I found this." And we chop it up and make a bike. The, the we we donate to club ride raffles and stuff like that. We can't keep. Well, we got to do something with bikes. So we just give them out to fundraisers and stuff like that. It's just JP and I having fun, and we have no room for that many bikes.
How many bikes do you have of your own that are active?
I have
Range.
Cobra.
Okay.
I have Cobra. I have two Skeletrons. Those are my bikes. I Any other bike that I have here is currently being made for someone else. They're orders. The I haven't made a bike for myself since 2016. That was Cobra. That was my last competition bike. Took a year to make Cobra. 363 days. Yeah, well, see, 2015 was my first year going to OBC, and I was going with Skeletron, and there I was on show day, and I'm so proud to, I'm doing a big show, and I put my bike in the corral. Well, our club is youth based, so we had 4 or 5 kids with us from the club in Vegas that weekend. But I think two of them had to work either that night or early the next morning. So we had to leave even before the show started. I had my bike inside, and I had to take my bike out of the show before the
Oh,
show started. And I was so disappointed. The entire way home, about 5 hours drive, I planned the bike I was going to make for next year, and that was Cobra. It took me 363 days to complete. I completed her 2 days before OBC 2016. Uh, it's it is it's more of a creation than a custom. It looks just like a Cobra. It even has it's got over 1,000 scales on it. Each one cut took over 3 months just to put the scales on.
Wow.
Uh, I only have three bikes. Only, and the reason I have three bikes because you can always say, "Yeah, I made some badass bikes." It's another story when you can show some badass bikes. The Cobra and Skeleton One live in storage. I pay. I don't have the room to have them out here. They have to be well semi protected, but they also have to be stored and kept just in case I need display power. Uh, what do I mean? There was an interview. They don't on the Hispanic Heritage Month, and so Channel 4 came down here, and they came down here because they saw my Burning Man bikes. We were in Ciclavia, and I had five of my bikes out there, Burning Man bikes. So the reporter saw me and he said, "Hey, we'd like to do an interview." So when it came time for the interview, he asked me to put out as many bikes as I could. That's display power. That's why you have those bikes. I wish I could have more of my bikes, but I only have one buck. You know,
Right.
and I'm at that point where, okay, at one point it was cool. Yeah, man, I got four bikes. I got five bikes. Yes, but see, now I make bikes. Uh, at any one time, I have four or five in my yard that I'm working on. That's how I get my fix. My bike life experience has evolved uh, to this, where it makes me feel complete this way, rather than just accumulating a whole bunch of bikes. I'd rather make a whole bunch of bikes.
well, this has been a great interview today, Art. Thank you for the history lesson. I mean, this is, man, you broke it down. Now, I asked,
I
go ahead.
any opportunity to hear the sound of my own voice, man, I I cherish it. I am in love with the sound of my voice.
Well, I'm
We
glad you
all
came
are.
on. Yeah, we definitely are. DJ, do you have any closing questions for him?
Nah, actually, the we could probably do this all night.
We could.
Um,
I mean, this was a history lesson. This was a good one.
but we will definitely. I want to get you back on here for sure. There's so much more. And like you said, the sound of your voice, just even giving us the history lesson about everything. It's amazing, and there's so many people that want to hear this story. So, um, it's a treat for me. I know we've talked, and had conversations, and you've assisted me with stuff, but like this is so much more, So um, I'm definitely glad we could end the year with this for sure. So
Yeah, this has been great. Just so you know, next year in February, Art, I'll be in California, up in San Diego. I'm gonna do critical mass. I'm gonna hang out with the schoolyard kids, and I'm gonna make it a point to do Marissa's Sunday night thing. So I'll be out there the last month. So I'll let you know when I come out. I'll let JP know as well too. So
Yeah.
I like to see
Try to
some.
make it. We got the Tracer right next month on the 17th.
I wish I could, just work won't let me, but I have the for sure time off for February, so I'll be coming out there. But
All
yeah,
right.
definitely looking forward to that. So it's been a great interview, but I have one last question, and it's a question that I ask everybody the same time, same thing every time at the end. If you were to send one message, state to state, city to city, worldwide to all of bike life and human beings just in general, what would it be, sir?
Get on your bike. Come and join the rest of us. Get on your bike. I'd love to meet
And that
you.
sums it up.
Everything good that I have encountered so far has been because of the bike.
That's very good. All right. Well, that wraps up our podcast for the end of the year. I want to tell everybody Happy New Year. Art, I hope you have a Happy New Year as well. Sherry Herrera is still in the chat room saying now, don't be a dick is what her message is to everybody. John Scudder is saying that you're not lying about your voice, that you definitely like your voice. everybody's everybody's been blowing up the chat room too, including the president. So yeah, it's been a great podcast, and I'll see you soon, my friend, and DJ as well. You know, I will chat with you guys. I'll get in touch with you here real soon, Art, and I've got some things I want to talk about. I want to send you some stuff from our show as well. So thank you very much for coming on. Happy New Year, everybody on Facebook. Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New
Happy New
Year.
Year.
We will see. Oh,
Happy New
yes.
Year, guys. Happy
And
New
by the
Year.
way, we will not, DJ will also confirm this. We will not be back till the second week of February. We're going to start with the schoolyard. The schoolyard will be first on deck for the new year, but we will not be back until the second week of February. So
And
we
if we
will,
do, it will be an end prop only. So that means if we put it out there, yeah, better be staying tuned because we can have anybody to come on as a guest,
at
just in
any given
case.
time.
Yes.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Okay, everybody, we'll talk to you soon. Art, don't hang up just yet. Give me 1 second, guys.